Welcome everybody to the screencast all about the laws of Kitniyot, part of our pre-Pesach study. The Torah is pretty clear about Chametz on Pesach. You can't have it. But contrary to popular belief, Chametz is not simply defined as bread. More specifically, Chametz is defined as anything that comes from the Chameshet Mine Dagan, the 5 primary grains, which include barley, rye, oat, wheat, and spelt. Any of those 5 grains, when mixed with water and turned into dough by sitting unoccupied for 18 minutes, is considered chametz. The Torah is pretty clear about what you have to do with that chametz. Tashbitu seor mibatechem. Remove this chametz from your possession. But not only must we remove the chametz from our possession, we're not allowed to eat that chametz, and we are not allowed to benefit from chametz in any way either. And so you might say, well, okay, I'll just remove the chametz from my possession. I won't eat it, and I won't benefit from it, and all's well, right? Not so fast. Because of a custom that developed in medieval times, known as Kitniyot, which comes from the shorish of katan, the story is more complicated. Kitniyot is defined as any item that is technically not chametz. It does not meet the standards or the definition of chametz that we mentioned just a moment ago. But despite the fact that it is not chametz and technically should be allowed to be eaten, we don't allow those products to be eaten on Pesach, primarily for Ashkenazi Jews, Jews whose origins trace to countries from Eastern Europe, Central Europe, unlike Sephardic Jews who did not adopt this custom, Sephardic Jews who hail from Middle Eastern countries. And we'll have a chance to explore why Ashkenazi Jews accepted this practice, but not Sephardic Jews. Well, why is it that there is this ban on items that aren't chametz? If the Torah says you can't have chametz, then everything else should be fine. So what's going on? Well, there's a couple of reasons why it is that this ban originated in the first place. The first has to do with the way the Kitniyot are grown. Kitniyot look a lot like chametz, and that's because they're grown in the same way that chametz products are grown. If you think about the 5 grains, which are grown in the field, usually with stalks, Kitniyot looks an awful lot like those chametz products. And the rabbis were concerned that if we allowed people to eat Kitniyot items over Pesach, people could mistakenly believe that chametz items could also be eaten over Pesach, which of course they're not. So to prevent people from coming to this mistaken belief, the rabbis forbade Kitniyot. But it's not just a case of mistaken identity. There's actual agricultural reasons behind this ban as well. Farmers do something called crop rotation, which means they're constantly moving their crops to different parts of their field. And because of that, it's very possible that Kitniyot items could be grown right next to actual chametz items in the field. And even though the Kitniyot items are never really going to become chametz, based on the definition that we said before about being from the 5 grains, the fact is that when these grains are harvested and processed in the plants, it's very likely that actual chametz could be mixed in. And so out of a concern that eating Kitniyot might actually result in eating real chametz, the rabbis banned Kitniyot, at least in certain Ashkenazi communities. But let's take a moment and reflect on what we've learned so far. Given all that you know about Kitniyot and all that you know about chametz, do you think that we should apply the same strict standards to Kitniyot that we do to chametz? Go ahead and pause this video, think about that question, and then continue playing to see some actual examples and visuals of Kitniyot that apply in today's times. So some of the major examples of Kitniyot include rice and corn, 2 of the big ones, plus sesame seeds, chickpeas, and flax seeds. And again, none of these things technically are chametz, but could be mistaken for chametz or could be grown near actual chametz and have real chametz mixed in with them. And for that reason, Ashkenazi Jews adopted the practice not to eat Kitniyot during the days of Pesach. But knowing all of this, we have some big questions that we have to answer when we get back to class. Number one, do the laws of Chametz, in all of their strictness and all of their severity, apply in the same way to Kitniyot? Or are there differences and distinctions to be made? That's something we have to focus on. Number two, how do you decide what actually goes on the list? I mean, we mentioned a few examples, but aren't there other things that could also technically be mistaken for chametz, like potatoes? Potatoes, when ground up, become a potato flour or potato starch, which is actually used in a lot of our kosher for Pesach recipes. So how come potatoes never made it on the list, but corn did? That's something we'll discuss in class when we return, as we take a closer look at Kitniyot, the origins, the halacha, and the modern day applications. Looking forward to doing that all with you when we get back together.